So there seems to be this trend on YouTube where we repeatedly have to question if something is still worth it. If you do a quick search of, is the Pocket 4K still worth it? You see a slew of videos ranging from the past week all the way back to a couple years ago. Sure, I know this gets views coming in for people's videos because it's a nice clickbaity title, much like the title of this video. But when is enough enough? Even with the release of the Pocket 6K Pro, this camera really still holds its own value-wise. So in this video, I decided to hop on this trend and also get some good view counts as well. And maybe try to put an end to this ridiculous question for the next 5 years, or at least get roasted by all of you for trying. So let's talk about this. All right, let's dive into the reason I think we can safely put aside the is it worth it questions plaguing the Pocket 4K YouTube scene lately. Let's talk price. The price for the Pocket 4K has only fluctuated slightly over the past couple of years since it's been released, staying mostly around a cool $1,295. And this really is the first selling point of the camera. The price is way below that of competitors in the mirrorless and DSLR camera scene. Granted, you do have to buy an adapter for EF lenses or buy MFT lenses for this camera if you do not own them already, add on storage, a cage, and other accessories needed to make this a viable camera option. And I mean, you'll still come out of pocket like $2,500 to $3,000 for this camera, depending on what you're using it for. And there are many rigs that honestly cost more than that. Even still, the price point for what this camera does is still not really challenged by any competitor. In fact, most competitors' equipment seem to keep getting more expensive. And while the Pocket 4K might not have all the features those new cameras do, it still holds its own for what it is. Really, the biggest problem with this camera is that it's mistaken as something that can replace your Sony a7 IV, and it's not. It's built for an entirely different use, and we'll get into that part later. All in all, the value based on the price of this camera is not going to change much in the next 5 years. Sure, Blackmagic, again, just released the Pocket 6K Pro, and while that camera is amazing, the price has yet to change for the Pocket 4K as a result of this, and I doubt it will for a good while. Because what else is out there that's even close to this price point? I mean, I would put the Pocket 6K Pro more in the area of taking on the Pocket 6K in terms of value and price. It really doesn't seem to be meant to compete much with the Pocket 4K cameras. In my opinion, this camera will still be worth it well into 2026, though future me, feel free to bash this hot take if needed to save face. And I do want to, before we get further into this, say that I love Canon and Sony cameras, so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you shouldn't use them. I'm just talking about value-wise for the future. For the next section, let's talk about features and issues with this camera. This is really what gets people crazy about this camera. Oh, it doesn't have autofocus. Oh, the depth of field isn't good because of the MFT system. Oh, it doesn't internally stabilize. Oh, it has problems in low light situations, and whatever else okay. Let's address this quickly here. Again, it's not meant to work like a Sony or Canon camera. It's a cinema camera. Honestly, its sole purpose is for video and not a hybrid camera. And while there are a ton of ways around this, it requires good lighting to look its best. And when it looks its best, it can compete with some of the best cameras out there. As far as some features go in this camera, it really does have some that I think will be useful for a long time. Things like having extra control over bitrate and constant quality, and constant bitrate settings, which seem to be the trend where most cameras are going to now. Having the option to shoot in Blackmagic's proprietary RAW, B-RAW has added some benefits not available in other cameras. Now, there are new cameras that do have B-RAW in it, so that might not be the case for too much longer. The 4K sharp but natural looking footage that it produces. Is it more difficult to color grade at times? Yes, and I'm honestly the first to admit that I am not an expert at color grading, and that really sometimes it does stump me in certain situations getting the best results from it. But even with all of these downfalls, I think the camera, based on how much it costs to own, plus the cinema camera features built into it, and the really good quality footage that you get out of this camera, I still think it's going to be worth owning it in 5 years, or at least for the next 5 years. The only exception I might give to someone looking for greater value is that of the Pocket 6K and 6K Pro, because they have EF mounts. If you're already a collector of these lenses, it might make more sense for you to go after one of those cameras, since you're not likely to have to spend a ton of money on new lenses like you would have to for the Pocket 4K, or at least have to purchase an adapter for it. But for beginners or those immigrating from Micro Four Thirds systems, this camera is still great on features. And this brings us into our next section. I really believe that this is a great beginner camera. It truly is, in my opinion, a great camera for beginners. From forcing you to learn how to properly operate a camera, like learning how to manually focus, or to its easy to navigate menu system. And I'm not alone in this line of thinking. I've talked to a lot of Pocket 4K users about their experiences teaching other people to film that have never done it before. And many of them say it was way easier to do than they expected it to be. A lot of these new videographers were able to quickly grasp the information on the camera and get decent footage from it early on. While one could argue using a mirrorless camera might be the easier way for new videographers to go, because of some of the automated features like autofocus and some other things, it might actually hurt them in the long run and not being forced to learn how to properly operate a camera. Now, I'm not a film purist, and I'm not trying to say that you need to know how to use this and you need to use the oldest cameras to use to learn how to film. That's not what I'm saying. Now, if their purpose is vlogging or something that you only need to have the camera spit out a clean image for minimal editing, then sure, go for one of those cameras. I'm talking more of those who truly want to be in the world of cinematography or work in actual video production environments. Knowing your stuff helps, and it's good to get the basics down early. I'm not saying that you can't learn on a different camera and get the same results. I'm just saying that for me, I really wish this camera was around when I first started filming. I feel like I would have avoided a lot of pitfalls that I fell into and have had to relearn over the years. We seem to have this tendency in the video community that just because something is not made within the past year, it's not worth owning, or that we constantly question it. Look, again, I'm not one of those people who will sit here and tell you that you're worthless because you decide to use modern cameras. Quite the opposite. I love new technology and religiously watch product releases of new cameras and drool over the specs that these companies are able to squeeze out of brand new cameras. I mean, who doesn't like to see an extra K in that resolution section? But I still can be objective and smart about it. A lot of people that have made the "is it still worth it" videos have only really used the Pocket 4K for a short amount of time. Not all of them, but there are a bunch that I've seen. Some for just a month before deciding they can accurately decide if the camera is worth it. The big problem is coming over from a DSLR or mirrorless camera to a cinema camera is a big change, and you have to put in the time to understand how to use the camera properly. So in my opinion, I think this camera does get undervalued. It's literally a dream camera for film students and people who want cinema-grade quality video but don't have the money to afford a Red or an ARRI, or hell, even a G2 camera. The Pocket 4K, in my opinion, will remain a sure option for years to come. And now, feel like I said something wrong in this video, as I'm sure many will. Disagree or agree with what I said, feel free to let me know in the comments below of what I'm sure will be a lively discussion. I love hearing from you either way. Thanks for watching this episode. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel below and hit the notification bell to stay up to date with all of our content. Until next time, this is John Owens with Frame Voyager.